Hey, it's Shaggy. Welcome to it. It's a show. Well, if you've never seen the show before, well, welcome to it for the first time. Today's comedian is neither from Bethesda nor Jackson. He's somewhere in between, and we'll get to know all about him and the many characters that he represents. As we always start off the show, roll the intro. Let's go.
Live from beautiful downtown Kahului, on the #1 island destination on planet Earth, the Valley Isle, Maui. From the Akaku studio at Halfway to Hell Plaza, it's live! And now, a man that's known far, but not wide. It's Shaggy!
Welcome back to the show. I am so sorry today, Brad, but we have a little weirdness happening here. Hang on a second. Oh, actually, you know what? I'll fix it later.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry, man.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing great.
Very nice to meet you. Let me start by saying thank you so much for having me on the show.
Yeah, that's the funny thing is like people. I've had this show since May. All of a sudden, people think it's like a thing, and they want to be on it. And to me, it's just like, well, you came in today, and it was like, oh, I'm sorry, Brad, could you hold on while we fix this nuclear meltdown behind my console?
And when you say nuclear meltdown, he means nuclear meltdown. I mean, I've never seen so many components on a computer open and exposed, but you handled it, man. You got it together.
The thing is like we all have, just like some weird skills that we've picked up along the way.
Ain't that the truth?
Yeah, well, for me in radio, one of the weird skills I picked up is I know a fair amount about computer engineering. Now, you've been an actor, a photographer, a bacon connoisseur and lover. And I imagine that amongst all of these worlds, you've picked up a couple of skills yourself.
Yeah. I have done that. Trying to figure out what kind of came first or one before the other. That's the interesting thing. But yeah, bacon connoisseur. That's a new moniker that I need to get like some business cards picked up on.
Really? Could you tell me like, where did the whole bacon thing come from?
You know what? I have to say that, that kind of came from, my early beginnings just as a kid. You wake up, maybe, what's for breakfast, Mom? Oh, we've got waffles and some bacon. And then, you have like that first taste of it. And it changes you.
According to your bio, though, you're from Chicago. So the bacon thing kind of gets me because I kind of imagine Chicago would be more along the lines as you would wake up to a drive-by shooting.
Yeah, well, let's see. I'm originally from Rockford, Illinois. So that's sort of like the second largest city outside of Chicago.
And that's bacon country.
Well, yeah, I mean we've got a fair amount of bacon. We know about cooking it. The one thing that probably got me early associated with that was when campouts and stuff like that. You're always hungry. Like I don't know if you ever you camp a lot.
Oh yeah, yeah. Obviously, look at me.
Oh yeah. Always.
Actually, in radio, it's called being homeless, but I prefer to call it camping.
Some people call me a comedian. I like to call it professional child of divorce.
Oh, there you go.
It's got a better ring to it.
Oh, God. But camping a lot. So this is where because I got on Instagram, and I always try to pursue guest of my show like a complete idiot. I try to start off basic as like, well, what do I know about him? Well, he's that guy with the beard. Okay, so now that I know that he's that guy with the beard, let's get on Instagram and look for beard guy. And then I find all of these pictures. And you are not only an actor as far as stuff that you've done on television, like movies, things like that, but you're an actor in everyday life, it seems. What is it like to be in your crazy little world?
You know what? It's crazy. It's crazy. That's an interesting question because one of the things that I think a lot of my friends had always told me that I should be on the other side of the camera as opposed to being a photographer. one of the things that I sort of got from my parents and from my family, my sister Dana, my mom Marcy, and my dad Marshall, they're funny people. So when we weren't laughing, we were laughing very hard. When we weren't laughing very hard, we were laughing so hard we were crying. So I grew up around that kind of chemistry and that kind of energy. My dad's brothers and his family, and like my extended family, all very funny people. So it's just something that's just like a part of me. It's just really a regular extension of me. You had Eric Blair on the show, which was a great interview about sustainability, sort of like these homes and these things. I met Eric the first time I came to Maui, and I was here for an extended time at one of these tweet ups where you get together with people who understand blogging and social media and all these kind of like things, and they teach that. Being a funny person in a room full of people who do nothing but blogging and Twitter, it was like a captive audience. And you can ask him or ask any of my other friends that are here on island or around. I have a way of taking a normal situation and just taking a left turn. So it's just part of my nature. It's nothing that you really try to contrive or train or.
Yeah, and so it's no sign of clear mental illness.
Oh no, it's mental illness. I'm a carrier of mental illness. I'm sure. In a good way.
Well, when you come from a childhood where you have a very boisterous, very gregarious family,
sure.
I mean, a lot of times it leads to you, being the younger generation, to be a more introspective, thoughtful, almost quiet character. But this wasn't your path in life. Exactly at what age did you figure that it was put up or shut up?
As far as
the family, because with my family, they were bulldozers. If you said the wrong thing, you slept on the porch with the dog.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So there wasn't a lot of that in my family, but it sounds like from yours. These were fun people.
Oh yeah. We had a lot of time, but we had a great time together. But like any family, there's some pain sort of mixed in there. But being the youngest, I'm the youngest of two kids. I'm kind of the stress breaker. I'm the one who comes in maybe with the zinger after the car has literally spun out of control 5 or 8 times and we've ended up in a ditch, and I'm the only one. Everybody else is sort of terrified, and I jump up, hey, let's do that again, and everybody's just like, oh my God, that kind of thing. So some of that, sort of came into it, but I'd always. You know what it's like when you meet the funniest kid, like at school? Mm-hmm. I always would try to find funnier people than me and then just hang out with them. So, that kind of experience sort of feeds into your character if you do it really young. I'll give you a perfect example. My parents, when I was 7 or 8 years old, my parents took my sister and I to go see Monty Python and the Holy Grail. The following week, they took us, this was when we lived in Madison, Wisconsin. The following night, they took us to a marathon showing of all the Marx Brothers. Just incredible. And there are, and then what? I was about to say there are no funnier movies than that, but then, of course, Blazing Saddles. My folks put me on, and then I would sneak and, listen to, their Richard Pryor albums and stuff like that. So comedy has always been something that's been a part of me, I guess. But I didn't really explore being on stage and really doing any stand-up until I came here.
Yeah, and that's the weird thing is because, I'm looking over the bio, it says photographer. When I think photographer, I think if you're a funny guy and you're a photographer, chances are you do a lot of kids' photography. But that's not exactly the whole nature of your photography career.
No, not at all. I got interested in fashion photography when I was in grade school. Instead of showing up to class with a textbook, I would show up with Harper's Bazaar, or the September issue of Vogue, under my arm, and be like, "What, history? Look at this hemline. It's going up." But,
wow.
Yeah, but I really, really, really loved, just fashion and learned who photographers were, loved Bruce Weber, Richard Avedon, used to follow like the campaigns that they used to do for Calvin Klein, Ralph Lauren, just on and on and on, and just became familiar with all the names and the faces of that work, and just really got into it. So that was a love that I took with me from that young age. Got my first camera, took pictures of like my friends and stuff like that, but all the way through, by the time I was a sophomore in high school, I knew I wanted to go into fashion photography. I wanted to go to Europe. I wanted to, be one of these guys who did that. What I learned once, the more I got into it, and the more I got into the production world, entertainment, was that, it's great to have a good personality or energy that you can bring into a situation with complete strangers. I mean, you saw what happened like when I walked in here. I mean,
yeah, everything started going to hell.
Everything,
we had
hell in a handbasket, but in a good way.
In a good way, yes. I have never managed to crash an entire radio system an hour before a show.
Yeah.
But it is kind of like that. You feel like not only do you control all the chaos around you, but it's kind of like because you come from chaos yourself.
Exactly. You come from chaos, from that which you must return.
Yes. So from photography to acting, and you also I see do I guess marketing advice.
Yeah. Well.
Can I ask you one quick question? Is there anything you don't do? I'm afraid that might be a shorter list for today.
Yeah. I haven't done skydiving yet.
Really?
No, I haven't done that yet. But the social media part of things did not, and probably would not have happened as quick as it did unless I came here to Maui. I think it would have manifested itself completely differently. What you're asking me about happened this way. I had been here on Maui for about a year. Mm-hmm. There is a really fine website called About.me, which is a website where you build a launch page for yourself. It would be a picture of you, maybe 2 or 3 paragraphs about who you are and what you do, and then you add your social media links, or the link to your website, the link to your Vimeo page, your YouTube.
Okay. So this is a launch page for people, right?
Yeah,
okay.
and basically what its function is if someone were to run a search on Shaggy Jenkins, it would come up in the search probably as the second item. People could click on that. They could go to that page. It would be a picture of you, and it would be your story, who you are. And from that page, they could choose to go to all these points of interest, all of your online real estate. It's a brilliant idea. So I was one of the early adapters, and I was a beta user. So it was myself, and then maybe, I'm going to guess and say maybe like 1,200 other people. But I had used it every now and then, but not really all that much, until the year after my first full year here. They sent out this email to all the early adopters and had said, you were going to have this contest where we want to see who can get the most votes over the course of 2 months. You're going to drive all the traffic you can to have people vote on your page on the website, and whoever turns out to be like the top 10 people, those profile pages of those members will be put on a Times Square billboard for about 2 months. So, I was just like, wow, this is really great. And I think I can drive all that traffic because I've got a fair amount of followers through Facebook and through Twitter, and just from, my database of people that I have on my email. So my smart idea was that I would do different voices and different lines from like movies and like The Godfather and Jaws, and I would do a different one every single day, upload it, and try to drive the traffic. But my girlfriend, who's much smarter than me, Lena, had said, no, well, look, why don't we do this? Come up with a character that's crazy enough that would embody who you are as a person and what your really good friends experience, and then tell, you should have hung out with this guy, Brad. He was dressed up like Mammy, and he was talking like with an Irish accent. He's crazy. I've done stuff like that. So she's just like, let's get you. Let's try to think of a character that we can, make a video of, and then put that out there, because then people will want to share it. People will want to do that. And I was just like, okay, that's brilliant. So what's that going to be? So I started to think about all the crazy people that I've dealt with who have wanted to be models over the years. And I've shot for lots of top agencies, DNA, Ford, Elite, just like on and on. But, there are all these other smaller agencies that you work for that maybe have people who aren't that great looking but want to be, and, are willing to pay money, to have really good pictures shot. And, you just meet a lot of really strange personalities. Oh, yeah. So I was just like, okay, so I'll create this person that I shot a long time ago. I connected with her and helped her sort of come out of her shell to get her this job. Okay. Her name will be, I'm trying to think of names. Bethesda Fountain is one of the most beautiful areas in Central Park. One of them. Yeah. But I'm like, okay, that's great. Okay. And then Jackson, black name. Last name Jackson. So Bethesda Jackson, that's where the name came from. But then in thinking, all right, what's the persona going to be? She was going to be, this good time girl, Shaggy, because, Shaggy. Here's what happened. She met Brad during this casting. She was working fries one day. She heard about the hair flip casting. Mm-hmm. So, she was going to go down there and she was going to show her stuff. But, it's so hard. These castings are difficult. So I just could not get it together. And Brad Starks came. He came to me. He was like, look, girl, you can do it. All you got to do is the hair flip. You know what you're doing. You just feel it and just boom, just do it. So, Lena's listening, and this is at 11:30 at night, yeah. And I'm just sort of going into, stream of consciousness, this character, and she's just like, okay, wait. Okay, just save some of that. Wait a minute, I got something. She disappears, comes back with a wig from her daughter's drawer of props and stuff. Oh. So, and it's this white blonde Valkyrie wig with a braid, and it's just terrible, but it looks perfect on me. So Lena gets the camera and she goes, well, what should we try? And she goes, I've got this slow-mo setting on here. Let's do something with that. And I'm just like, okay, the Charlie's Angels hair flip. Yeah. That, let's do that. So we do that for about 5 minutes, and I do 10 things of me wearing this thing, doing this slow-mo hair flip. And we watched it, and we were on the ground. We're on the ground, just rolling. We're rolling. So then we found this little outfit, and I'm basically pouring my heart out, telling the same story, doing the hair flip at the end. And then, Lena, thank God, knew how to edit and knew how to tweet these things and knew how to, she basically taught me how to do all this stuff. But we posted it, and no sooner had we posted it, I had over 300-400, hits. So we kept it going. So luckily for me, Lena's the business manager of famous painter, Maui-based Robert Lynn Nelson. Yeah. And she was able to persuade him. Oh, very nice. She was able to persuade him to give Bethesda Jackson a tour of his studio and teach her about art. And it's one of those things where and Robert and I had become very good friends. I was lucky enough to have met him during my first year here, and we shot a commercial with him, for him. I got to do the voiceover for it, and I was doing an imitation of Sean Connery that was quite funny.
Everybody has a Sean Connery. What's yours sound like?
It's really Shaggy. It's really the way. Do you know the difference between your mother and a dead duck? No. Yeah, I won't go any further because it's a child program. This is PG-13.
I gotta ask. Sometimes, this is off subject as hell, but it's my show, so who cares, right? I mean, have you ever just set up some late nights? Your girlfriend, glass of wine,
keep it up,
a cell phone, call up your friends, and just do celebrity voices at your friends at random?
You know what? I haven't done that yet. However, one of my favorite talk shows is the Graham Norton Show, which is a BBC show. We saw this segment last night where Russell Brand called up a sex line and was talking in a character voice, and the person on the other end didn't know that it was really him. And I mean, it was hilarious. So don't be surprised if you see me do that video.
Well,
or if I call you like a late night and.
Well, thank God I don't work at a phone sex line. Back to Bethesda though,
Right.
because this is so strange to me, because a lot of people don't know that through the years of my career, 20-something years, Shaggy is actually a character.
Okay.
And every time I tell people that, they're like, no way. And it's like, really? You think I act like this at home? I'm married, you fool. But when you birth a character that is like a Bethesda Jackson, who, by the way, I've watched the YouTubes. I've seen the tennis one. Wow. When you birth a character like that, do you really envision how far it will go?
No, literally the reason that the character was created was simply just to drive votes to get these these things. But
now I'm sitting here and I'm thinking RuPaul's Drag Race season 8. Bethesda Jackson could possibly be the next drag superstar. I am thinking, maybe we should take this on tour a little bit.
Well, and then I know where I might be outmatched. So it does also sort of come down to being smart enough to know sort of where the character could actually be appropriate and be funny and add to something.
Are you kidding me? I want to go grocery shopping with Bethesda Jackson.
Oh, yeah, man, that could be worked out. That could definitely be worked out.
I mean, as a matter of fact, we will do that. I want to set up like somewhere, sometime. Let's just go shopping with Bethesda Jackson.
I would, we should ask your viewers and we should ask your fans on Facebook if that's something they'd like to see. We get over 850 likes or something on that. Let's do it.
That's more than friends than I have. I am not as popular as you, Brad.
We're going to help you, Shaggy.
Oh, God.
We're going to help. This is an intervention, really. We've set this all up through the broken computer. It's a test.
Oh, man.
It's a test, baby.
So I'm going to have you in here, and then sometime this week, Michael McCarthy is going to show up.
Oh,
great.
Yeah, Michael.
Yeah, I know.
That guy gets around like a plague.
Well, you do, too. From what I've seen, you've been on everybody's show but mine. What took you so long to get here?
Shaggy, I got to tell you, and I've been telling people out there, this is like the Maui version of Charlie Rose.
Wow.
Did he buy
really?
It? Did he buy it?
I don't know who Charlie Rose is.
Oh, my God. Shaggy.
I know Mr. Rogers.
Yeah, okay.
I always envisioned this show being like my own imagination land.
Oh, well, there you go. There you go.
But growing up, I gotta ask you this question, because I'm a person that was heavily influenced by things that I watched. And, of course, I watched shows like The Reading Rainbow. Oh, God, I loved LeVar Burton.
Sure.
I loved Mr. Rogers.
Sure.
Loved those shows. But as I was coming into wanting to do this career and things, it was guys like Johnny Carson and stuff like that I watched, and ultimately led me to go, these guys are idiots and they get paid for it. Where do I sign up?
Sure.
What did you watch as a kid that really made you not only just come out of the shell, because you're already in this routine, and being the youngest kid, I was that too. So
Okay.
I understand. You're already in this wide open space. What was the thing that you saw that said, God, I can top that. I can be that?
I guess seeing guys like I got a chance to catch some old episodes of the Jack Parr Show, which was the original Tonight Show.
Oh, yeah.
Jack Parr is awesome. Awesome. You talk about a great monologist. The guy, just the art of conversation in spades. Just incredibly intelligent. Could make anyone feel comfortable, from a politician. When you're able to get Richard Nixon on your show to actually play the piano, of like a sonata, rinky-dink thing that he made up, and, just glorify it. Incredible. Jack Parr, David Letterman, I'm a huge, huge fan. He is definitely going to be missed. Obviously a Johnny Carson fan. The guy is great. But who did I see? Well, I'll be honest with you. I never really gave myself a chance to really be on the other side of the camera until I moved here. long story short about the whole About.me thing, after the, oh my gosh, which one was it? The tennis one that you mentioned. That was really fun. And again, I got to give that up to Lena, because the last part of that punchline, which I don't want to give away in case no one saw it, was brilliant. And that was her idea. And that put me over the top, I really think. And I mean, my face ended up on this billboard. But what was funny is, I had lived in New York for 20 years and I was just working as a photographer. But I have friends who are agents for models who are always just like, Brad, let me send you on, something. Like, no, because, my feeling is if my clients found out that I was getting into acting and I was trying to do comedy, they wouldn't take me seriously as a photographer. And I was really, I had this idea in my head that I could, be one of the photographers, would be under contract and like shoot for Vogue and all these kind of things. And, that's like the big league. So I never gave myself a chance to go to an open mic or like do all these things. But that changed after after that billboard happened. And Lena said, so your face is on this billboard now. You've run around in a blonde wig. Don't you think you might want to try doing some stand-up? And, I agreed. I mean, she had a gun on me, so, I wanted to live. Well,
don't all women, at the end of the day, have a gun on us?
Oh, yes.
Especially if they're the ones that sleep in the same house. Because you have to consider, at any moment, you could die if you don't listen.
This is true. It's not so bad, but, the ball gag, that's the part that hurts.
It's so much more embarrassment than it is humiliation. But, so she's basically got you up against the wall and says, now is the time to go into stand-up, and you made the jump into that.
Yeah, she has a friend that owned the late Stella Blues, unfortunately, which is no more. Mm-hmm. But she called up Cale and had let him know that she was like, listen, Brad's got this thing, we'd love to come in there. Is it possible that, we can do something? I went in and watched Chino and the guys from Power Up Comedy. So it was a lot of fun. And just had a really great time just sort of watching them perform. And then after the show, went around and introduced myself to them. Mm-hmm. Just sort of found out what the vibe was and said, you know what, I'm going to try and get like some material together. I don't know what I'm going to say, but I'll come back next week and give it a shot. But, the great thing about having someone who understands marketing and promotion like Lena was, as soon as I said yes, the following day she went into action, and she's a local and she's lived here all of her life, so she knows everyone. And I had already been here for about 6-7 months, so all of her friends had met me and I had hung out with, and they knew how crazy I was. So as soon as she put the word out, they put the word out, and those people put the word out. So we were able to fill up the open mic. I don't know how many people there were, 60? It was a lot of people. And it was a great night. And that was the first time I went on stage. It was just a really, really great time. Really great time. And I enjoyed it. And it was one of those things where I was really nervous the 3 days before. And as soon as I picked up the mic and got on stage, I felt, it was the weirdest thing. I felt completely at ease. Strange. Wow. Really strange. Really strange.
Well, not a lot of people get that sense of stage calmness. It's usually stage fright.
Yeah.
So congratulations.
Thanks.
You are one of the few that have the adverse effect. I tell you what, we're about a minute away from the break, and we do have to take one.
Sure.
One, because you've been talking an incredible amount of time, and I kind of want to give your vocal cords a rest, because when we come back, I have some more questions that I want to go further into. Call it the mind of Starks. Okay?
Oh, boy. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, this is going to be a great interview. I feel it in my bones.
All right.
For everybody else, if you'd like to join the show, you can at 877-6363 or email live@akaku.org. Put in the subject line, Bethesda Jackson Goes Shopping, and we might try to see if we can get something worked out.
Hashtag Bethesda Jackson Goes Shopping. We love that.
Oh, definitely. All right, so 877-6363. Quick break. We'll come back with more of Brad and with some more crazy stories. You're listening to 88.5 FM and watching live on Channel 55 Akaku TV. We'll be right back. I got to hum.
Did you know? These 6 major corporations control 90% of the media in North America. Akaku is public access TV, run by the people, for the people. Akaku is Maui County's agent of free speech and community media. Federal laws require cable companies to provide financial support for all public access programming. Akaku is your public access resource, and we're open 5 days a week. Community members can learn to use the equipment and tools needed to exercise their free speech. It's easy, too. Now you know.
At Akaku's Maui Community Television, we are committed to employing your access to media. Our goal is to certify community producers that will go out and create meaningful and local content for our viewing community. Akaku's Media Lab now offers classes in Apple Final Cut Pro 10, professional editing software. This class will cover basic editing skills and Final Cut Pro's 10 systems available at Akaku. With a maximum of 8 students to every instructor and 1 student per editing system, students will receive intimate and hands-on training.
Back joining me in the studio once again is a guy that has a really nice sweater, but it's named not Cosby. It's Brad Starks.
Thank you, sir. How you doing, Shaggy?
I gotta say, it's very funny to meet a guy that says that he didn't get onto stage or into acting until he moved to Maui.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is because I too had this first experience because I acted like I could speak pidgin the second week that I was here on Maui.
Oh, no.
Not exactly the smartest thing that you can do as a guy from a trailer park.
Oh, man, yeah. My girlfriend actually told me early on, she was just like, listen, you're gonna encounter a lot of people who speak pidgin. Do not try to speak it. And I kind of understood that and took it to heart because, when as a black person, you meet a lot of white people, obviously, but the ones that are the strangest to you is when they try to talk like they're black, and you're just like, no, man, don't. Why? Why? Why?
I mean, do you ever have a moment in your life where you're like, cracker, please?
Oh, that's such an old word, isn't it, Shaggy? Oh, my God. Is it that kind of a program? Oh, my God. Someone turn off the Wayback Machine.
Oh, well, see, for me, it's like I have the most interesting time when I first moved to Maui in 2003.
Where are you from originally?
I am from Bessemer City, North Carolina.
Okay.
Okay, a little southern drawl in me.
Okay.
Well, when I speak in my natural voice, it sounds way worse. When I first moved here to Maui in 2003, I got on the air at a hip-hop station, and of course, with a name like Shaggy, the first question that everybody asks about the new DJ is he black? Well, it's true. And then they hear me talk in this southern slang, and then they meet me. And it's always like, it was always fun explaining to people, it's like, that is not a black speak. That is southern speak. We all talk the same.
It is southern slang.
But you're saying, like, you're from Illinois.
Yeah.
There was definitely a I guess you could say, a language class to your way of life?
Yeah. I mean, I was definitely, I mean, in our house, my parents sound like this. And I remember early on, or even not even early on, but even just sort of like later on through life, through professional life, I would talk to people. Hey, I'm a black guy named Brad. You know, that right there.
Yeah, you know, that's
my
enough.
my sister's name is Dana. So, you know, so I would get a job on the phone and show up and they'd be like, "Oh, we have no work here." That's a joke. That's a joke.
Oh,
That's
hey,
a
hey,
joke.
hey.
That's a joke.
It's
But
happened
no.
to me too. You must be this tall to work here.
Oh,
And
yeah,
then-
yeah. Oh, well, I mean, you know. We got to get used to some lifts.
But at least being a black man, you're handsome. Look at me and then think of how many opportunities were slammed in my face with this face like this.
Literally and figuratively.
Yeah, yes, yes. But this is one of the things is like you go from the mainland where there is a black community and you've moved over here to Maui and now you're the last one alive. How does it feel some days to like wake up and just know that your life is completely different now?
Yeah, I mean, but you know, I'm used to it. I'm originally from Illinois, but I've lived in Tokyo. I've lived in Spain. I lived in Spain for about 3 or 4 years. New York, Italy. I was in Lake Como for a long time. Milan, Germany, Portugal. So I'm used to being in places where I'm not of the place, and world travel will do that to you. But then again, I mean, you know, I really love people. And I'm comfortable. My element is to sort of not be in my element and to do and meet people and make connections anyway.
And see, I noticed that when I first started traveling out of the South, like people everywhere I went would look at me different. Like when you first started traveling out of Illinois, pursuing your lifelong careers that you have eventually settled on. There's 5 of them at least. I mean, you are the Mormon of employment. But when you first started venturing out, like what was some of the more interesting places where you're going and you're like, wow, this is how they act?
Wow. Japan was total culture shock from anything I've ever experienced. Just because I can't read Japanese, and I was there as a creative director for a makeup line. And I was still doing a lot of photography. I was doing some filmmaking with a great friend of mine, Mike Leonard. And we had to do castings and we had to get work done, and you're in a completely different world. So that took an adjustment. But the one thing that was interesting about that whole situation was I was able to use my humor to get things done. And even though I couldn't understand what people were saying, if I had an interpreter there, after engaging in a conversation through them from like 5-10 minutes, I would start to key in sort of on like what they would say. And I was like, wait a second, did he just say, we need to do X, Y, and Z? And they're just like, yeah, how did you know that? I'm like, I don't know. It's sort of like this, like the vibe I'm picking up. So, you know, that also can kind of play into performance and being on stage, you know?
So you are a universal translator.
No.
I was
a little bit, maybe, you know. Yeah, I mean, I can get by. I can get by. Yeah, I can get by.
like which languages have you encountered where you completely just faked your way through knowing?
Oh my gosh. Oh man, my friend Jan is going to see this and he's going to be laughing so hard. The first 3 or 4 months that I was in Spain was the first time I was outside of the country, and everything that went wrong could have gone wrong, but I was so lucky to make some really great friends while I was there, and they were trying to teach me Spanish phrases and things like that, and I got the word for chicken and penis mixed up. So I was ordering penis sort of like, you know, loud and proud, and they were like, who's this guy with you? Is he Polo? Is it? No, Brad, no. For
Pollo.
God's sake.
Pollo.
Yeah, for God's sake, be quiet, you know. So, yeah, that made for some interesting dinner conversation.
I bet it made some interesting dinners.
Oh, yeah. I'm
Something-
vegetarian now.
Yeah, you
Except
know,
for the bacon.
Oh God, that's the thing. It's like you've went to a place in your life where you're ordering peanuts off the menu,
Yeah, you know.
and now you're living in Maui. where in your life were you when you finally decided, dear God, I hate the mainland. I have to go to an island in the middle of the largest body of water on planet Earth?
You know what? The recession came up, and I was in New York, and like everybody across the country, we're like, hey, how long can the recession last? It's, a couple of months. It'll clear itself up. Well, that wasn't the case. So after trying to wait that out for about 8 months or so, closer to like a year, I was just like, okay, let me get out of New York. Let me regroup. Let me go back to Illinois and sort of regroup. I remember I was at my parents' place in the winter, and I got this call, and I was offered to do a small job for a client who couldn't pay my full rate, but they were just like, here's the deal. We'll pay half your rate. We'll fly you on location. Once you finish the job, we'll throw you the keys to the place, and we'll give you the car, and you can hang out for as long as you want, 6-7 months if you want. And I was just like, okay, well, where's this location? What, like, rural Milwaukee? Where, Cudahy, Wisconsin? Where am I going?
Yeah.
And they were just like, no, there's this little place, that's in Wailea, and there's a house there. And, I Google searched that, and I was just like, oh, yeah, I'm in. So that was the first time I came. And luckily for me, I met Lena and Robert and started to work with them. Met Dan O'Brien over at Paradise Television. Dan is now the owner-operator of 808 Shells. He's got a Kickstarter campaign. I hope everybody gets into that. But I started working with him on social media and some of his marketing stuff. But that's the one great thing about Maui that really taught me another lesson that I'd already learned, but there are really great creatives who are at the top of their game here. Mm-hmm. And one of the amazing things about what's happening right now with the film studio, with this huge feature film that's getting ready to come in, a lot of the people from the mainland who are going to start to come here once this sort of huge project gets kicked off, people are going to really be surprised by the talent that they encounter here and that they end up hiring.
Oh, wow. And are you saying that you're hopefully going to be one of those talents?
Well, I stay open just because now I understand sort of how things happen. You need to stay open to opportunities and just really accept them as they come in. That's really where a lot of opportunity and new growth can kind of happen. I didn't know I was going to be doing the Bethesda Jackson thing, and that opportunity came up, and I just went with it. One of the things as a creative that I try to help my clients, when I get hired for these things, is to find out, first of all, what they're passionate about, mm-hmm. and how they can relay that to their brand. You, as Shaggy Jenkins, as a DJ, with your own show, you're a brand. Models are different brands. Directors, producers, everybody, if you do something creatively and you need followers and you need support, you're a brand. So there's a way to present that, and there's a way to reach out to the public and make that connection.
Yeah, and for me, it's always hard to think of myself as a brand.
Yeah.
I honestly, because I'm a person. Really, I am. I have needs and feelings, and if you prick me, do I not bleed? But when you talk to people and setting them up for things that you do with them in photography or representing them, through marketing and things like that, you have, it seems like, spend a lot of time educating people about what it is or how it is that you think about yourself when you're going into promotions.
Yeah, sure. And it's I used myself as a guinea pig with the whole Bethesda Jackson thing. So mm-hmm. There are facets and parts of that I really learned from. And then I look for people who are smarter than me, and I learn from them. Tim Ferriss, the 4-Hour Work Week. This is an amazing person who really, really understands what it is to. It's called hacking, like lifestyle hacking. Oh. How to learn anything proficiently in the least amount of time and use it to your benefit. I mean, I would recommend his teachings and his blogs to everybody. Learned so much from that. So there's a way in, and if you've done it before, you can offer that as a service to other people who might need it, and you can make the process a lot faster. Case in point, there is a young lady who I've known through Sierra, who is my girlfriend's daughter, who's a very skilled athlete. She's one of the fastest 400-meter sprinters in the state. She's 14 years old, something like that.
Okay, let me ask you, because this is your girlfriend's daughter. Are you concerned that you're not going to be able to ground her?
No, not at all. If anything, they ground me.
Oh, wow. Wow.
If anything, I get grounded.
Yikes.
I am not worried about them being grounded at all. No. But anyhow, when I met her, people were first mistaking me for her father at track meets, which is understandable.
You're so Polynesian.
Yeah. Well, she's African American and German, so she's mixed.
Oh, okay.
So anyhow, it was obvious to me that she had a look that she could be a really, really great commercial model. Mm-hmm. So I spoke with her mom, and hey, you're aware of this? She's got a really great look. Oh yeah, but right now she's not, like, whatever. It's like, good. So, but we kept in contact. I got cast for a couple of interesting things where they were looking for a sort of like father-daughter kind of thing. And I was just like, hey, this girl that I met, you've got to see her, and got them in there. Just like, oh my God, you're great. Sure enough, she ended up booking a television commercial about 4 or 5 months after that initial contact. Fast forward to 4 weeks ago. They called me because she got signed on with Wilhelmina in Hawaii. She needed her first photographs made, so they hired me to shoot the portfolio. Not only did I shoot the pictures, since I'm a photographer and I've made the rounds in Oahu already as a photographer to the clients, I'm fully aware of who the top photographers are there, and one of them actually hired me as talent for a job that we shot here. I was just like, hey, you have to see this girl. She's fantastic. You guys should use her. I don't know if let me link you. So that's one of the ways in which I discovered I could add value to something where I would just take the pictures and that's it. So that's very powerful. That's very powerful.
So it's safe to say Brad Stark's Star Maker.
I wouldn't say that, but you could say that. I do what I can, and there are certain opportunities that sometimes arise where I can do things like that, and it's being Pono. It's just doing that. You would want, I have a vested interest in wanting to see people do well.
Well, not to, because we've only got like 12 minutes left in the show, but not to abuse my power, which I totally will at this time. Like someone like me, what would you say that I could get into through all of this stuff that you're talking about?
Well, you know what? It would...
Besides ads for contraceptive, I've been in enough in those.
Right.
Okay,
right.
I have been a running endorsement.
Intimacy.
Yes.
For Shaggy.
Well,
and
just say no.
Okay. Look. Well, one of the things that you've already done that's good, you've got a website. Mm-hmm. You've got a Facebook page. If you didn't have any of those things, there is a very capable person who's here on island that I work with. His name is James Welch of Geek Design Firm. When we work with a startup like yourself, we get together, we talk about what your brand is, we talk to you about who it is you want to appeal to and what you really want to do as a whole. We take all that information, we mull it over, and then we come up with a full concept, which would involve, James, maybe even tweaking the website that you have now. There might be some facets and some things that might be missing there that you haven't taken advantage of yet. New photographs, video things that you could do out in the community. I mean, there's a lot of interesting things that could be done, but it would really take like a focused look and, Yeah,
well, I find that I do best in circumstances where people aren't really allowed to focus on what I look like. So with all of this stuff, it's rather intimidating, you know. The thing is, too, is like when we talk. Come on, stay with me.
Yeah.
Come on, just.
Trying to not look at his horrible face.
Yeah, you know, I know this. I apologize for it often. But when you're setting up somebody through all of these channels and things like that, and we've talked about the whole wealth of experience that you bring to the table. Sure. Let's just say that somebody is not convinced that this is the way that marketing and promotion is going to go. And see, I bring this up at the end of the show for a very good reason. We have sometimes young viewers that don't know that going into the job market is a lot like doing the things that we're talking about now.
Sure.
If you were to give some advice right now, as far as to an individual, how would you say is the right way to really, and I put up the air quotes for this, put yourself out there these days?
Out there these days, yeah. Social media is definitely one of those things that's going to be here, and
but have some etiquette.
Have some etiquette. Have good sense. If you're trying to make a point, you know, do it in a way that doesn't offend anyone. I mean, have your voice and put that out there, but you know, there's no reason to be offensive and, you know, to really get in someone's face. You try to be helpful to other people before you ask for something. You know, if you go to someone's wall, you know, on Facebook, for instance, I mean, I had no idea you like Jack Parr. Maybe later tonight, I'm going to go to your wall and I'm going to post on your wall, like, there's an amazing interview that he had with Judy Garland, who's like one of his like best guests on there ever.
Was she sober?
Yes, she was.
Oh, great.
Yes, she was. And hilarious. She tells this really great story about how she met Marlene Dietrich, and I don't want to spoil it for you because I'll send that to you. You're going to love it. Really, really funny stuff. But try to be helpful. Try to be positive. The job market is changing, so just try and be yourself and be authentic.
And is it really an in thing these days to be authentic? It seems like everybody, at least when they're out on the social media world, falsely portrays the package that is there.
Well, I'll tell you something. As an actor, when you start to go out on these auditions, you end up in a room with 100 other guys who look exactly like you. The only thing that will get you the job, because it's all the same words on the paper or on the card that you have to read, the only thing that's going to make the difference in getting you the job is going in there and being Shaggy and saying the words the way your personality brings it out. And then maybe at the end, maybe you put a bumper or something on it and they're just like, oh my God, this guy, you know, we had so-and-so in mind. You come along and you do what Barry Katz, great comedy manager, says, is you go in and you cause a problem. So I would tell young people who want to go out there and make their own mark, go out there and cause a problem, but be authentic and be positive.
Oh, you know, and then, see, for me, I was thinking there was a totally different strategy there. You go to these auditions, there's 100 people that look like you, one of them gets hired, you just show up to work before he does and claim to be him.
Or you kill him.
Yes.
or he dies in some kind of like, you know, horrible elevator accident where it plummets to his family death.
What kind of... You just became Irish there as you got murdered.
Well, you know, I'll tell you what. Everybody should go to Mulligan's. That's my brother's over there. His name's Michael O'Dwyer. Oh, he's a famous fella. Do you know Michael? Have you ever been there?
Yeah.
You look a bit Irish. So you've had the Guinness over there.
Yes.
Well,
obviously, you do not get this pale sober.
Oh, well, let me tell you something. My name on the street is patio furniture. That's me moniker out there, Shaggy. Don't let anybody know that. This is not televised. It's on the radio. Nobody can see me face, right? You should have seen me dressed up like Mammy that time I was beatified. Beautiful. It was 17 proposals of marriage. Donald Trump was all over me. I'll bring that back on another show.
Oh, my God. I can't help but... See, for me... I slip into crazy voices and stuff when I don't want people to bother me in airports.
Yeah.
And I've noticed that it works. Like if I am traveling and I am in L.A. and I adopt my Southern accent, I ask somebody, y'all seen that bathroom?
See, yeah, there you are. Well, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All of a sudden,
it's right there.
them city slickers, they ain't want nothing to do
Oh,
for you.
see, now, I was down the street and I saw a wagon. It was licking fire. It was licking fire for sure. All those poor kids, all burnt up, all around the face and chest area.
But the funny thing is that when I go back to North Carolina and I want people to leave me alone, I talk in normal English.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, how are you?
He's
And, and all of a sudden, oh, that damn Yankee. And they leave me alone. Do you ever do this? Like when you're traveling, do you ever just mess with people at random?
That's all I do. I mean, I have, friends on Facebook who have been there and who can share stories. I mean, I used to run around with a group of friends, and we just used to do crazy things. But I've done things in like somewhat quote unquote like normal situations where people are just like, oh my God, this guy's crazy. Or to talk in like an accent like that to a bunch of Japanese tourists in Tokyo, priceless. I wish I had cameras rolling then.
Oh, God. I think one of the craziest things I've ever done, and I want you to try this because, one, fun. Oh, my God, it is so fun. And two, it is so great when you're exiting the plane when people talk about each other. All right, I sat down in one of those big 767s, right? To the person on my left, I had a normal accent. To the person on my right, I spoke in nothing but Southern dialect the entire flight.
Oh, yeah.
Across country from here to Chicago. So by the time we landed at Midway,
Yeah. That's a Twilight Zone episode right there.
But you should try it. It is really great because when you're getting off the plane, it's like, honey, did you hear that nice, well-spoken man? And then the other guys beside me, it's like, I sat beside a damned hick the whole flight. Dumb as the day is long. And it's the same guy.
You can do that.
Yeah. But, I mean, I use it for my own sick amusement because I am, at my core, a sick individual. When you go out and you do these pranks and things, and like I said, I see the Instagram and stuff like that, it seems like you're coming from a part of the child that never retired. The consummate entertainer. When people follow you, is that what you're hoping they actually take away from it? Is the fun, the entertainment?
Yeah, I think, on a certain level, yeah. I love having a good time. Getting together with people and having a great time. There's nothing better. There's nothing better than hanging out with a bunch of friends, having a few drinks, and just laughing about crazy things, or being in certain situations that you create fun out of. So I've had a lot of experience. You work in the fashion industry, you had better know how to have a really good time, because it's not as glamorous as what you think, and you're constantly having to work with different people, and you're constantly in different situations. So if you're the photographer, you're the one who's in charge. It's like being a director. So hopefully you create the type of set and the type of environment where everybody can be fruitful and they can have a great time. And in the end, that's what's going to end up getting you the gig as opposed to someone else. They'll be like, man, we're going to be in Phoenix, Arizona for 2 weeks on a shoot, kind of boring clothes. We could hire any number of 8 guys who can shoot this stuff, but you know what? I'm going to go with Starks because, oh my God, have you heard him do that Irish accent? The guy's crazy. We're also, we're going to get our work done, but we're going to have a good time.
God, man.
So that's where I guess it all kind of comes from, really.
Yeah, well, and that's pretty much where it's all going, because I have had a great time.
Yeah, well, this has been fantastic. Thanks for having me again. I've come back anytime, my friend.
Really? Because there is such a gap in my schedule right now. I have spent all day fixing this busted studio and have neglected my booking. So can you pretend to be like 4 different people in the near future?
With wigs, I'll bring the wigs. I'll bring the makeup, Shag.
Oh,
we'll get it together.
We will do a Bethesda Jackson interview.
Okay. Now we'll build that up. Now there's something that might be able to happen.
I want the exclusive.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
We'll get my agent involved because I've got one, and
I'm willing to pay in McDonald's gift certificates. Okay. But look, we've got like 30 seconds left of the show. Today's guest has been Brian Starks, a very funny man. You can find him online at a bunch of different places, Facebook websites and things like that. Got to say thank you to Kristen, who today has been suffering through the show. Broken headphones, computer not working, desk all torqued. Oh, God, it's been a weird day. But tomorrow, I'd like you to join us back on the show because we will have, I swear to God, a non-weird day and a very special guest who I forgot because I didn't write it down. Consummate professional that I am, Brad. Thank you for showing up.
That's what happens.
All right. Well, for everybody